Please note that some of the details in this story might upset some viewers. Let's go back to one of our breaking stories. Remains believed to belong to one of two young men who were swept out to sea on New Year's Day have been found on Pennington Beach. The 21-year-old men are among a group that drowned during strong currents on the Durban beach. Newzroom Afrika's Phila Mthembu has an update. A very good afternoon to you, Phila. What do we know now that we didn't know before?
Well, Vuyo, at this point, we do know that there are developments, there are remains that have now been found. But of course, from here, there's going to be some DNA tests which would have to be conducted to determine really, who is in fact a relative to that particular person whose remains were found. But for more on this conversation, I'm going to bring in the IPSS's Njabulo to speak to us. He is from the search and rescue team of the IPSS. Just to get clarity, Njabulo, with these developments, firstly, there has been so much confusion with regards to the numbers, and now here we are today, there are these developments. Firstly, talk to us about what do we know so far.
Good afternoon to everybody. As far as we know that we can confirm, there was 5 people that drowned here in Pennington Beach. About a day after, one was reported in the Mtwalume area. So with the correct numbers of the people that have been washed out, we will leave that to SAPS as they have far more information than us.
And of course, there have been remains which were discovered not so long ago and not so far from where we are standing. With regards to that, what do we know? The state of this particular individual whose remains were actually washed out of the sea, the state of the families. You have been on the ground. I suppose you have also been engaging with them. What can you tell us about that discovery?
I'll be totally honest with you. It's been devastating for the family. They've been very sad. They've been coming here from the first, which is when the incident happened. Each and every morning they've been coming here, spending the whole day here, praying and hoping that the bodies will be washed out so they can get closure. So that's when we also came in to try and assist them in trying to find these bodies, and then we can bring closure to their families. However, if you've been in the water for a couple of days, the state of your body is usually not so good. So I can imagine. But as I'm saying that, I'm sure the family would be grateful that at least there's something that they found.
And where to from here?
From here onwards, as the holidays are still continuing, as much as they're coming to an end, we're just still taking care of the people around the area that are still enjoying the holidays here, and we're urging them to continue following the safety precautions that have been laid out. In all the beaches in this area, you do find lifeguards. There are boards that actually give a directive as into how to handle yourself in the beach. And also to you guys as the media, you'll do echo the word on a daily basis. So we just urge people to continue following those and just take care of themselves. But for those unforeseen circumstances, we will be here to assist.
Okay, and with this particular, discovery, from your understanding, because you have also been working with the SAPS as well as other rescue teams that have been here, it was a collective effort. Can we expect for DNA samples to be done, and what is usually the process in terms of that being carried out, especially when you look at this particular latest discovery from here?
Okay, so with the bodies that were discovered, which is 2 on the same date of the incident, it was easy to identify. Family was there, SAPS was there, and other relevant stakeholders. But those that actually got washed out a couple of days later, that's usually left with the forensic department and SAPS. They handle it from there. So from our side, we'll only know as far as what happened here and when we were present here. Anything above that, that's usually left to SAPS and forensic.
And can we now expect for more search and rescue/recovery efforts to be done, especially when we take into account that there are some remains that have been washed out today? There have been concerns that the search and rescue recovery efforts had been eased a bit. Can we expect them to be intensified moving forward?
We're always keeping an eye on the beach because during these times, I know we normally report a lot about those drownings that were reported. So sometimes it happens that there are drownings that happen out of sight of people who can report it. So it's such cases where you suddenly find a body that's been washed out that wasn't actually reported or that was not being searched for. So that is why that we don't just conduct a search for a number of days and call it off. We keep an eye on the beach and on what's happening around the beach in case such situations happen.
And when you look at the time that has passed, I mean, these people actually went missing on the 1st of January. It is the 6th of January today. What are the chances really of them being found now, and why has it been so difficult for them to actually be washed out or to be discovered when you look at the fact that so much time has passed already?
With nature, it's really hard to speculate. But the most challenge about this side is the conditions of the sea. And if you can see on our background, this is a very rocky area. So if if somebody drowns and then as the sea is trying to wash them out and then they get stuck under the rocks further in, it becomes a bit difficult. But we always try our level best and use most of the equipment that we have to try and get there and then see if we can find them.
Thank you so much for your time, and we do hope that the families are actually going to ultimately get to a point where they find closure, Vuyo. There is, of course, still, another body that has been missing despite the remains that have been discovered here today. We do know that at the last time actually we had spoke, it was actually 2 bodies that were washed out, and those bodies were identified. They were still in a much identifiable condition. We do know that one of the 5 that were reported to have been swept into the sea was rescued successfully. Now that's brought us down to 2 people who were missing. There were remains which were washed out today, but of course at this particular point what we know is that they belong to just one individual, and it still calls for more search and recovery efforts to be conducted here. For your, it's back to you.
Phila, with that update, following, of course, the discovery of the bodies that drowned some